Hello, everyone, and welcome to our culinary adventure. To prepare the perfect dough for these delightful treats, close attention to detail is paramount. We will begin with the crucial phase of creating an aromatic base. Take a suitably deep saucepan and bring the required volume of water to a vigorous boil. At this stage, add a bouillon cube to the water. This is not merely a flavoring agent, but a fundamental element that will infuse our dough with a unique depth of flavor, characteristic of the most exquisite versions of such snacks. Ensure that the bouillon cube is completely dissolved and that the water is once again actively boiling, distributing the savory notes evenly throughout. This step is crucial for achieving a uniform taste in your finished dough. Now, it's time to incorporate 50 grams of butter. This is a highly effective addition. You will need 300 grams of high-quality wheat flour, a vital nuance that distinguishes perfect dough. The flour must be poured in all at once, not gradually. This technique is essential to prevent the formation of lumps, which would be exceedingly difficult to work out later. As soon as the flour is in the boiling liquid, you must immediately and very energetically begin stirring the dough with a wooden spoon or a sturdy spatula. Work vigorously until the dough comes together into a single, dense ball. Continue to mix it over medium heat for several more minutes, actively stirring until the dough easily pulls away from the sides of the saucepan and a thin film forms on the bottom. This indicates that the starch has fully gelatinized and the raw flour taste has vanished. The result will be a flawlessly smooth, pliable, and wonderfully fragrant dough, perfectly ready for the next stages of preparation. Once the dough is cooked and forms a dense ball, immediately transfer it from the hot pot to your working surface. After this intensive kneading, the dough can be gently rolled out, not to create a thin sheet, but rather to give it a more uniform shape, such as a flat disc or a small rectangle. This ensures more rapid and even cooling from all sides, preventing the formation of an overly dry crust around the edges and allowing the moisture to remain encapsulated within. Finally, one of the most critical steps before proceeding with shaping, take a plastic bag or plastic wrap and tightly enclose the still warm yet processed dough within it. Then, allow it to rest for 10 minutes. Why is this so vital? Sealing it tightly in the bag creates a kind of steam bath, which helps the dough to evenly warm through, to rehydrate internally, and to relax. This process, known as gluten relaxation, is precisely what makes the dough ultimately pliable and perfect for molding your delicious droplets. Let's move on to preparing our aromatic filling, where the chicken fillet will be the star. Take 300 grams, approximately 0.66 pounds, of chicken fillet. Before you begin seasoning, ensure the fillet is thoroughly trimmed of any excess membranes and fat, and then crucially, pat it dry with paper towels. This step is vital. Any excess moisture on the surface will prevent the formation of a beautiful golden crust during searing. Now, it's time to infuse the fillet with its signature flavor. Generously rub each piece with freshly ground black pepper, which will add a piquant zest. Next, sprinkle with salt. It not only enhances the flavor, but also helps the meat retain its internal moisture. And of course, paprika. This is more than just for color. It lends a mild, sweet aroma that harmonizes wonderfully with chicken and creates an appetizing hue. Distribute the spices evenly over the entire surface of the fillet, massaging them in to ensure the meat fully absorbs these delightful flavors. Quick question for our fantastic viewers. What are your go-to spice combinations for chicken? Do you have any secret ingredients that make your chicken truly shine? Carefully move the seared fillet to an oven-safe dish and place it into a preheated oven at 180 degrees Celsius or 356 degrees Fahrenheit. Bake for precisely 8 minutes. First, take 2 cloves of garlic. Thoroughly mince them with a knife. This method, as I've mentioned, helps release the maximum beneficial compounds, especially allicin, which is known for its potent antioxidant properties. Sauté it for literally a few seconds, just enough for it to start releasing its deep aroma, but not so long that it darkens and turns bitter. You know, some chefs prefer to crush garlic, while others slice it. I wonder, what do you find best unlocks its flavor and beneficial properties? Immediately after the garlic, before it has a chance to burn, add 1 grated carrot. Using a grater significantly reduces the carrot's cooking time and allows it to release its sweet notes more quickly. Carrots are simply fantastic. They're absolutely packed with beta-carotene, which our body converts into vitamin A nutrient critically important for good vision, healthy skin, and a strong immune system. Now, add 1 onion, cut into small cubes, to the pan. Small dicing ensures the onion cooks evenly and won't stand out too much in terms of texture. Onions, like garlic, are a valuable source of quercetin, a powerful antioxidant that, according to studies, helps combat inflammation. Sauté the onion until it becomes translucent or lightly golden, soft but retaining its sweetness. This will only take a couple of minutes. There are often debates about how much to sauté onions, until translucent, golden, or just soft without much color. How do you usually judge it in your recipes? To complete this vibrant vegetable palette, add 1 red bell pepper, diced into small cubes, to the pan. Red bell pepper is a true vitamin bomb. It contains a tremendous amount of vitamin C, even more than many citrus fruits, as well as numerous antioxidants like lycopene. It will add bright color, juiciness, and a slightly sweet note to the dish. Sauté all the vegetables together, stirring constantly until they are tender but still retain a slight crunch. We don't want to turn them into mush. It's important to preserve both their texture and their beneficial properties. Bell pepper is so versatile. Do you prefer its slightly crisp texture when sautéed, or do you prefer it to be completely soft? When the vegetables reach the desired level of doneness but aren't overcooked, it's time for the finishing touches. Add a dash of freshly ground black pepper for a slight kick, dried garlic for a deeper, softer garlic accent, paprika for enhanced color and a sweet undertone, and of course, salt to taste. Allow the vegetables to cook for another minute or 2, letting all the flavors harmoniously combine. Our perfectly cooked chicken fillet, which we so meticulously seared and baked, should now be cool enough to handle comfortably. Carefully take it and dice it into cubes. I recommend aiming for a fairly uniform size, approximately 1 by 1 centimeter. Why is this important? Because consistent pieces of chicken will ensure even distribution throughout the filling, guaranteeing that every bite is perfectly balanced. Next, we'll need a hard cheese. I prefer varieties that melt well and have a distinct flavor. Take our cheese and grate it on a coarse grater. This size of shred is ideal. The cheese will melt nicely, creating a binding texture, but its flavor won't dominate. Rather, it will merely complement the other ingredients. Now, let's move on to the fresh herbs, which will give our filling a special freshness and aroma. Take a bunch of parsley. Its bright, slightly pungent flavor wonderfully refreshes the meaty and cheesy components of the filling. This is a small but very important touch. And finally, the most climactic moment. Add our delicious, aromatic vegetable mixture, which we so diligently sautéed, to the bowl. I prefer the vegetables to be slightly warm when I add them. This helps the flavors to release and integrate better. Gently place our perfectly balanced filling onto the prepared dough base. Evenly spread it across the surface, leaving slight margins around the edges for easier shaping. Once the filling is in place and the dough is shaped, we'll prepare the essential binding layer. Take 2 fresh chicken eggs. The egg here isn't merely for color, it acts as a powerful adhesive, allowing the breadcrumbs to perfectly adhere and simultaneously lending our dish a wonderful golden hue when fried. Now it's time for the breadcrumbs, our trusty ally in achieving that ideally crispy crust. Transfer them onto a flat plate or into a wide bowl. And here's the main thing. Let the oil heat up properly. If it's not hot enough, the breading will absorb too much fat, and the item will be oily rather than appealingly crispy. Our dish is now ready to be served, a perfect combination of tender filling and a wonderfully crispy crust. See how carefully I first dip it into the egg wash. It's essential to ensure that every millimeter of the surface is fully covered by this glossy liquid mixture. Then, straight from the egg, I very gently transfer the piece to the plate with breadcrumbs. And now, our item is perfectly ready for frying. It goes straight into the already well-heated vegetable oil. As you can see, just a few minutes in the pan, and there it is, golden, crispy, incredibly appetizing. Finally, once all our pieces have achieved golden perfection, we can proudly arrange them on a platter and serve. Thank you for watching.